The underdog who beat NASCAR's giants. The Alan Kulwicki story. As the round turned forward to complete lap 320 here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, Wisconsin's Alan Kulwicki in his number 7 Hooters Ford Underbird is within striking distance of the NASCAR Cup Series championship. Kulwicki only has to lead one more lap than the number 11 Budweiser Ford Thunderbird of Dawsonville, Georgia's own 1988 NASCAR Cup Series champion Bill Elliott. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, and Benny Parsons called the action, and you could feel the tension in their voices as the laps wound down. Though this wasn't just another case of a Cup Series title fight. Rather, this was a story of a stubborn, underfunded engineer-turned-driver who climbed to the very top of the stock car racing world. Alan Kulwicki was born December 14, 1954, in Greenfield, Wisconsin, just outside of Milwaukee. Alan's father, Jerry Kulwicki, was a mechanic who worked on race cars for local short-track teams. This garage atmosphere with his father is where Alan was first introduced to racing. His mother, Mary, passed away when he was still in grade school. The loss of his mother meant his father was left to finish raising him. Jerry did good as far as raising Alan by pushing him to achieve his racing goals as well as to gain an education. In fact, Alan was a straight-A student all throughout school, even attending the University of Wisconsin and earning a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering in 1977. From the start, Kulwicki was different from literally all the other drivers as he approached racing from an engineering angle, obsessing over data, numbers, and setups. Not actually starting to race until 1973, when he was about 18 years old, racing go-karts. By the mid-1970s, Kulwicki made the jump up to the local short tracks and stock cars, even reaching the American Speed Association, or ASA, by the end of the decade, racing against greats such as Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace. After finding success up north, Kulwicki knew that if he wanted to race against the very best, he'd have to go south to run the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. With only a pickup truck and a trailer, Alan made the move south, with no big sponsor or team. Though he always did things his way, and his venture into the Cup Series would be no different. Making his NASCAR Busch Series, now O'Reilly Auto Parts Series debut in 1984, behind the wheel of Ed Whitaker's number 7 Oldsmobile, making 4 starts. Kulwicki's best start was second, twice, at Milwaukee in the spring and Bristol in the fall. His best finish was second at Milwaukee in the spring. Overall, in 4 starts, Kulwicki scored 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s, making 2 more starts in the first half of the 85 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series season for Whitaker's race team. His best start was first, and his best finish was 14th, both coming at Milwaukee in the late summer, as well as making his NASCAR Cup Series debut at Richmond in the fall, behind the wheel of Bill Terry's number 32 Ford, starting 25th and finishing 19th. Throughout the remainder of the 85 Cup Series season, Kulwicki made 5 starts in all, 2 in a number 32 and 3 in a number 38 Hardee's Ford. His best start was 24th, and his best finish was 13th, both coming at Charlotte in the fall. Remaining with Terry's race team till the first part of the 1986 NASCAR Cup Series season, deciding to run the full schedule with Kulwicki running for Rookie of the Year honors. When Bill Terry made the decision to shut down the team, Kulwicki purchased Terry's equipment, becoming an owner-driver. With a skeleton crew and a very small budget, Kulwicki drove that number 35 Quincy Steakhouse Ford to a surprisingly decent season, attempting 26 out of the 29 races, qualifying for 23 of them. His best start was 6th at North Wilkesboro in the fall, and his best finish was 4th at Martinsville in the spring. Overall, in 23 Cup Series starts, Kulwicki scored 1 top 5 and 4 top 10s, finishing 21st in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings, as well as winning Rookie of the Year honors in 1986, changing the number of his race car from the number 35 to the number 7 starting in 1987. Xerox also came on board as the team's new primary sponsor, spending all season between 11th and 20th in point standings. Kulwicki's best start was first, 3 times, at both Richmond races and Dover in the fall. The pole at Richmond in the spring was the first of his career. His best finish was second at Pocono in the summer. Overall, in 29 starts, Kulwicki scored 3 poles, 0 wins, 3 top 5s, and 9 top 10s, finishing 15th in final Cup Series point standings. A huge addition to AK Racing joined the team in 1988, crew chief Paul Andrews. After a bit of a slow start, Kulwicki again found ways to score some very strong finishes, winning 4 more poles at Dover in the spring, Pocono and Bristol in the summer, then Charlotte in the fall. Finally found his way to victory lane in the penultimate race of the season at Phoenix. Overall, in 29 starts, he scored 4 poles, 1 win, 7 top 5s, and 9 top 10s, finishing 14th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. From 1989 through 1991, Kulwicki's AK Racing continued to build their program. His best start was first, 11 times, in Atlanta in the spring and fall of 1989 and the spring of 1991, Michigan in the summer of 1990 and 1991, Charlotte in the spring of 1989, Bristol, Darlington, and Rockingham in the spring of 1989, Pocono in the summer of 1991, then Dover in the fall of 1991. Kulwicki's best finish was first twice, at Rockingham in the spring of 1990 and Bristol in the late summer of 1991. Working on his engine and chassis programs alongside Andrews, Kulwicki continued to grow his AK Racing No. 7 Ford team. Sponsor Xerox left at the conclusion of the 1990 season, with restaurant chain Hooters coming on board with the No. 7 car, starting with race 5 at Darlington in the 1991 season. Another first for Allen came in 1990 when he finished in the top 10 final Cup Series point standings, finishing 8th. Over these few seasons, Kulwicki set himself up with a team capable of competing with and beating the bigger teams. The 1992 NASCAR Cup Series season began pretty solid for the No. 7 Hooters Ford team. After the first 10 races, he already won 2 poles at Bristol and North Wilkesboro, and even won the spring race at Bristol. With only one finish outside the top 20, Allen set 4th position in Cup Series point standings, leaving the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte. Kulwicki's strong season continued through the next 10 races of the 1992 season, winning another pole at Watkins Glen in the summer, and winning another race at Pocono in the early summer. Leaving race 20 in Bristol, he set 3rd in points. To go along with his strong finishes, he also led laps as often as possible. This due to the fact that the point system of the time mainly paid for consistent, strong finishes. Unlike the stage racing of today, the only bonus points came from leading laps. 5 bonus points for leading 1 lap per race, and another 5 points if you lead the most laps throughout a race. This would prove to be the difference maker come the final race of the season. The final 9 races of the 1992 season, Kulwicki continued to click off one strong finish after another, week after week, only finishing outside the top 15 once in the final 9 races. His best start was first 3 times, at Dover, North Wilkesboro, and Charlotte in the fall, and his best finish was second twice, at Charlotte in the fall, as well as the final race of the season, the Hooters 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Mathematically, there were 6 drivers in contention for the NASCAR Cup Series championship. Davey Allison entered as the points leader. Kulwicki was second. Bill Elliott was third. 4th was Harry Gant. 5th was Kyle Petty. And 6th was Mark Martin. By the halfway point of the race, 3 of the championship contenders had fallen out of contention. Petty's engine gave him issues, ending his hopes. Gant, though fast in the beginning of the event, the longer they raced went, the further he fell behind. Martin, who had also been near the front in the first portion of the race, lost his engine on lap 160. After a long, difficult, injury-filled season, Davey Allison looked to be on his way to his first Cup Series championship, until Ernie Irvan lost control of his No. 4 Kodak film Chevrolet exiting turn 4 on lap 254. Allison T-boned Irvan, ending Allison's championship hopes. All of a sudden, the only 2 left standing were one of NASCAR's most successful, well-funded teams in Junior Johnson and Associates, No. 11 Budweiser Ford Thunderbird, with Bill Elliott, the 1988 NASCAR Cup Series champion. The other contender was a smaller, single-car, less funded operation of AK Racing's No. 7 Hooters Ford Underbird. Kulwicki understood how much of an underdog he and his team was. Therefore, he asked Ford if he could leave the TH off of Thunderbird, leaving Underbird. As the race wound down, Kulwicki had gearbox issues and was a little short on fuel. On lap 324, crew chief Paul Andrews told Kulwicki he clinched the most laps led bonus points, meaning that even though Elliott would win the race, as long as Kulwicki could nurse this race car to the finish line in second place, he would be the 1992 NASCAR Cup Series champion. As Bob Jenkins called the completion of the 1992 Hooters 500, he stated, "Bill Elliott comes off the 4th corner. He wins the Hooters 500, but Alan Kulwicki is coming off corner 4, knowing that he is winning the championship. There's the checkered flag for Allen. He's the 1992 NASCAR Cup Series champion." Overall, in 29 Cup Series starts, he scored 6 poles, 2 wins, 11 top 5s, and 17 top 10s. Some of the key members that Kulwicki had on his crew in the 1992 season were crew chief Paul Andrews, Tony Gibson, and Brian Weitzel. Ray Evernham even worked for him for a short time. It was a storybook ending to the 92 season. David literally beat all of the Goliaths. This race also was not only important for the championship, but this was Richard Petty's final race. This was Jeff Gordon's first race. The Hooters 500 1992 was one of the biggest races in the history of NASCAR, to be quite honest. After reaching the very top of the sport in 1992, expectations were for the number 7 Hooters Ford to have another strong season in 1993. Things got off to a decent start, but sadly, prior to race 6 in Bristol, Kulwicki was returning from an appearance at the Knoxville Hooters, flying across Tennessee back to Bristol prior to Sunday's race. The plane, a Hooters corporate plane, slowed and crashed just before its final approach at the Tri-Cities Regional Airport. The National Transportation Safety Board, or the NTSB, determined that the pilot failed to use the plane's anti-ice system to clear ice from the engine's inlet system. Kulwicki died on Thursday, April 1st, 1993. The AK Racing Transporter was driven around a rainy Bristol Motor Speedway with a black wreath hanging from its grill, with drivers, teams, and media bearing witness. As the transporter passed the start-finish line, the flagman waved the checkered flag. Jeff Bodine would end up purchasing the race team, and they would continue to race the number 7 Ford for a few more seasons. The mark that Kulwicki left on the NASCAR Cup Series in his relatively short career was monumental. He proved that talent and brains can in fact beat money and power. In 207 NASCAR Cup Series starts, Kulwicki scored 24 poles, 5 wins, 38 top 5s, and 75 top 10s, winning the 1992 NASCAR Cup Series championship. And in 5 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starts, he scored 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.